to navigate our radar, and we'll zoom in a little bit on our Doppler radar here to give you an idea of what the storms are doing right now. And we'll get a closer view here. This is all south of the Des Moines Metro at this point. It's not very far off from the Des Moines Metro, and there's a little bit of a closer view of that as it moves into parts of Madison County now, Warren County. This will be moving into your neck of the woods. Clark County has been hit with some heavy rainfall, likely some small hail and plenty of thunder and lightning as well. The rest of the storms that are down in Ringgold and parts of Decatur County, this particular cell already went through that area, and it is not quite as potent. This one down in Ringgold County, south of Grand River and west there of Lamoni. But the core of this storm is what we're watching. It's in parts of southern Madison County, parts of southern Warren County, and north of Osceola. I want to clarify, this is not a severe thunderstorm. There are no active severe weather alerts for our area, but that doesn't mean we couldn't see any as we go throughout the rest of the afternoon. I do want to show you that there is quite a bit of lightning with this as well. We'll see if we can get that turned on here. We're not getting the lightning data on, but that's okay. There is quite a bit of lightning, several strikes, and we'll zoom in a little bit closer so I can give you an idea of where the heaviest of that rain is right now. And that is just along I-35. You see here north of Osceola. So if you're in northern Clark County, lots of heavy rainfall there. It's going right up I-35. So we're looking at Truro, also New Virginia. Those would be the areas that are going to see that torrential rainfall and probably some small hail. It's been moving pretty quick as well. The National Weather Service did have an update on this storm saying that they have weakened a little bit. Lightning has decreased with this. There's likely some pea-sized hail with this as well. Moderate to heavy rainfall, and because we do have some moisture in the atmosphere, we got a little bit of sunshine, it's possible that these will strengthen again. But currently, I'm not too concerned about severe weather for our area. Doesn't mean it can't happen, but just given that the environment is not overly strong for severe thunderstorms to develop, I'm not too worried about it at this point. I do want to tell you, though, that we are going to see these storms moving into the Des Moines area pretty soon. So if you are looking for heavy rainfall, this will be coming in our area. These are continuing to move to the north, and we'll be looking for those in places like Dallas County, Polk County, and actually I do want to put the loop back on that as well. And you can see just in the last hour or so how it's been coming up from the southwest, bringing plenty of heavy rainfall there from Madison County into Warren County. There's New Virginia that's popped up on the map. So you see the trajectory of that. It'll be heading towards the Des Moines area pretty soon. And actually, if I pause this radar loop and see what we've got with this particular storm. So it's moving north at 30 miles per hour. So what I would like to do with this is put a little track on this storm and give you an idea. If it's going north at, what did we say, 30 miles per hour? Get that, it'll be close enough. Here are some of those arrival times. Patterson, Iowa, around 3:12. Martinsdale, Iowa at 3:23. 3:35 in Indianola, 3:57 in Des Moines, and should this same cell hold together, 4:02 in Johnston. So basically the northern suburbs of Des Moines can be looking for this heavy rainfall to come in right around 4 o'clock and a little bit thereafter. So some people get out of work around 4 if you have that, if you will be starting your evening commute a little bit early. We will be keeping a watch on that. I do want to hop in, see if I have seen any comments here. Aubrey said, is it headed to Des Moines? Yes, it is, as we just showed you. Dawn says, well, maybe we'll get some rain out of this. And Dawn is in Boone, so hopefully you'll get a little bit. I'm worried that this core, Dawn, may go a little bit east of Boone. So if you're looking for rainfall, it may be a little harder to come by if it doesn't quite go into your area. So that's kind of the track, the timing of this all. And we can clear off of the track here. But most of this is just heavy rainfall. There's likely some small hail. There's our lightning strikes popping up now. Several bolts of lightning there. And really, this is just a good, non-severe thunderstorm that is moving up from the south. And it's already hit parts of southern Iowa. So The question is, will we see any severe weather as we head into the afternoon? There's always a chance that one or two of these storms could fire up a little bit more, that they could strengthen a little bit more. Currently, we have a level 1 risk over our area, highlighted here in green. That's a marginal risk for severe weather. It's a lower end threat. We don't have a ton of unstable air in the atmosphere. We do have just enough to produce some of these storms, but not enough to really get them to grow, to intensify, to strengthen. And that's what you need for big severe weather, and we just don't really have that today. It's not even that warm outside. It's in the low 70s, but our moisture at the surface, our dew points are not overly high. So that's why this is a lower end threat. We will continue with the marginal risk. Really, that one cell that has developed that'll be in the Des Moines area by 4 o'clock, that's the one. That's the one that we're going to be watching. Behind that, there are some more storms and some more showers. Hopefully, we'll get some more rain out of it. But that's kind of the one. That's the one cell that if we're going to get severe weather, it would likely be produced from that cell. And just given the latest radar trends with that, I'm not too concerned about that. Of course, there's enough with this upper level low, enough spin in our atmosphere where we do have a very low, very conditional threat for a tornado to spin up. We call it a conditional threat, which means it's got to be just right, the ingredients in the atmosphere, to get something spinning. We've been watching this storm since the moment it entered our state. The moment it developed in Missouri and came into Iowa, we've been watching for signs of rotation. Nothing that has been too concerning, which is good news because we really want rain. Some of us like a little thunder and lightning, but we don't necessarily need severe weather. Nobody really is hoping for that. So this is all a good thing, other than the fact that it may miss certain areas. It may miss a lot of areas that are hoping for some rainfall. So let me go back to the radar and give you a little bit of a closer view, and we'll have to zoom back in kind of on the Des Moines metro. We'll see if we can zoom in on that area. All right, get closer in on that cell. And nothing that is developing to the south of it is really all that impressive. There we go. That's what I was hoping for, is to get that close to it. So just torrential rain coming down in St. Charles, Iowa. It's right along I-35. So if you've got travel plans this afternoon, if you drive from Des Moines south along I-35 from, say, West Des Moines, past Mills Civic Parkway, through Cumming, down to St. Charles and New Virginia, I would hold off just because this is not going to be a fun drive. Even if it's not a severe storm, just torrential rain is falling there right along I-35. North of St. Charles, that's moving in the direction of the Des Moines area. So Cumming, heads up, you're about to get some heavy rainfall. In Norwalk, we will see some heavy rainfall. And in West Des Moines, especially the south side of West Des Moines, that's where this particular storm is headed. Again, it's not severe, and we are simply doing this update just so you know what's going on with the storms. We're not really doing it as a concern for severe weather right now, or out of concern. We're not live on Local 5 News just because we don't interrupt programming unless the threat warrants it, but it's still enough that we would like to keep you informed and get you in the know about what's going on with these storms. Let's see. Rachel said, is Altoona in the same path? Rachel, yeah, given the trajectory of this, it's possible that you'll get some rainfall in Altoona. I don't expect that you will get probably the core of that storm, but it'll be pretty close because it's moving, I'd like to call it north-northeast, but it's moving generally north at 30 miles per hour. And that was at the latest update, so it's really dependent on if it still is holding that same speed. Amanda says, how long will it last? Amanda, we could see rain for several hours just given what's developing to the south. But as far as this particular thunderstorm, I don't think it'll last very long. It depends on where you are, of course. But in the Des Moines area, 30, 40 minutes maybe. It just depends on if this thing holds its same speed, if it still travels north at 30 miles per hour, and then we'll of course see it get out of here and see how long it holds together, because eventually these storms do weaken and sometimes they fall apart, sometimes they re-strengthen. Just looking at the updates from the National Weather Service, they say, you know, this probably isn't going to re-strengthen very much just because the environment out ahead of it over the Des Moines area and over Polk and Dallas County, it's not overly conducive for severe weather. There's not a ton of moisture. There's not much wind shear out there. And we didn't get a ton of heating. Yeah, it's warm. It's 72 or 73 degrees, and we did get a little sun, but there's still a lot of clouds. And I know you're seeing some dark, ominous clouds outside. I understand that sometimes can look scary and it can look like a big storm's heading your way. This is really the one cell that we're watching. There's not a whole lot else. Amanda said, awesome, baseball practice coming up. Hopefully you'll be able to get baseball practice off without too many issues. I can't guarantee it, but I know this is that time of year where we start getting those concerns, don't we? So I do want to give you another idea of the track, and I'm going to zoom out just enough so that we can time out this storm. And again, we said this was moving north at 30 miles per hour. Of course, that was the last update. We don't have a more recent update on the storm, but I would say that's probably still, that's more northeast. Let's go north at about 30 miles per hour. So these are the arrival times for this storm, given that same trajectory, the same path, assuming it doesn't change a whole lot. 3:21 Martinsdale, 3:35 in Norwalk, 3:53 here in the city of Des Moines. So right around 4 o'clock in Des Moines is when I expect this to hit. 3:54 in Urbandale and 4:10 in Ankeny. And of course, if you are in those areas, if you're in Windsor Heights, West Des Moines, Waukee, Altoona, Pleasant Hill, Carlisle, of course, we'll be keeping an eye on this for you as well. It only pulls certain towns and certain cities here. But so it is just shy of 3:20 now in the afternoon. And again, Martinsdale, it should be knocking on your door right now. Norwalk, 3:35, again, just before 4 p.m. in the city of Des Moines. Of course, it'll be coming up from the south side by the airport. 3:54 in Urbandale and 4:10 p.m. in Ankeny. And again, I don't expect this to strengthen a ton. We do not, by the way, as I said, we do not have any severe thunderstorm warnings, certainly no tornado warnings. There's no watches in effect for our area, no severe thunderstorm watches, no tornado watches. It's simply a low-end risk if these storms were to strengthen a little bit. If they were to get into an environment that's a little more juicy for storms, then yes, they could strengthen. And we could have a severe weather threat, but currently that's not the case. We don't have a lot of storm reports out of this. There have been some, areas where we thought maybe there's some small hail, but nothing confirmed at this point. If you've seen pea-sized hail or maybe dime-sized hail, that's certainly not out of the question in that area. Let me see if I can clear off the track here. That's kind of in the way. There we go. So you see it's not too far off from the Des Moines area at this point. I'm trying to look for a couple of your other comments. Aubrey said spring showers bring May flowers. That's true. Cindy Joe said it's dark and thundering there. That is in Kellerton, Iowa, I know. Rachel said, hoping it shifts a little east. The garden needs some rain. Yeah, this is one of those where I think a lot of people, as long as we can keep this under the severe limits, a lot of people would like to see this rainfall because this is very good. As I showed you earlier, there's still quite a bit of lightning with this. In fact, over the last 10 minutes as I've been talking, the lightning has really started to ramp up a little bit. It has strengthened, at least in that regard. So this is one of those where if you are outside or you know somebody who's outside, especially in the Des Moines area, tell them to head indoors. It doesn't have to be a severe weather threat. With this much lightning, we still want folks to be safe. We want you to be inside as that storm moves through. So there is quite a bit of lightning with this, and yeah, still just plenty of heavy rainfall, and boy, it is following right up I-35. Let me see if I can go in for an even closer view. I don't want to go too close because then we will have a hard time seeing what's on the map. There you go. This is a really close view. Highway 92 runs here out of Madison County into Warren County. And then, of course, that intersects I-35. So that's the intersection that we are over right now. Just really heavy rainfall, probably some small hail here, lots of lightning. We're looking at Martinsdale, Spring Hill coming, and there's Norwalk. So this is coming right up I-35. It's not severe. And again, I'm not here to spark any fear or anything like that. It's not a severe weather threat, which is why we're not on Local 5 News right now. We're not interrupting programming or anything like that. But we have these capabilities now, so many tools to bring you information on Facebook, on YouTube, on we-are-iowa.com. And I thought, why not? When we have storms that are moving in, we are going to see certainly that it's worth telling you about the trajectory of these storms, how they'll be moving through, and of course keeping an eye on them, as I'd really like to see how this will evolve and what will happen with it as it moves into the Des Moines area. So again, just coming up through Warren County, heads up to you, and coming in Norwalk. If it's not raining right now, it will very, very shortly. Keep in mind that the heavy rainfall, the radar, lags a little bit. So it does lag by just a couple of minutes. And so sometimes where we're looking at heavy rainfall and we're looking at the core of the storm, it actually may be a little bit farther along, but for the most part, it gives us a good idea. Again, we're looking at Highway 92 and I-35. And then of course, as this moves into Norwalk, we'll be keeping an eye on that as well. I am curious to see, and I'm going to send a quick message to our producers and everything. No, I was just going to pull up the hail, and I was coordinating with Mario here. Yeah. And I would love, I'm trying to see how long I can talk here before our production team and everything needs to keep getting ready for newscasts, because I'd love to see this storm as it comes into the Des Moines area. Even though it's not severe, I'd love to just see how it evolves and keep here with information for you as this comes into the city. Dawn said it was getting dark in Boone. Cindy Jo said there was hail. All right, why don't we zoom out a little bit? Actually, you know what I want to do is I want to see what our hail looks like, if anything, in this area. So we pull up here this hail tracker, and it gives you an idea of what's going on. See this light blue where it meets these little gray colors? That just indicates small hail. So it's not really a very intense storm. You may get a little bit of pea-sized hail reaching the ground, a little bit of dime-sized hail, but nothing too strong, nothing too severe. So if you're in Prohl, you might be seeing a little bit of hail. That'll be coming up into coming in Norwalk as well. By the way, if you are watching our live stream here on weareiowa.com, on YouTube, on Facebook Live, if you see hail or you see anything going on in your area, send us that photo. We'd love to show it on air. Hopefully with your permission, you'll give us the authority and the permission to do that. And just let us know where it is from. Sometimes we get photos and that nobody tells us what town they're in. Tell us where you live. You don't have to give us a street address, but just tell us, hey, this is in Norwalk or it's in St. Charles or something like that, so we have an idea. And then tell us who you are. Let us share your photo if you're okay with that. I'll share it with the National Weather Service too, just to keep abreast of what's going on with these storm updates. And actually, just a recent update within a minute ago, the National Weather Service said small hail is possible for the Des Moines Metro. And that's not surprising at all, given the path of this storm. Gage says, any severe weather for Ames? I hope so. Gage, I don't think you're going to see much in the way of severe weather in Ames. Hopefully you'll get some rain and some thunder. Mark says the grass needs water. It does. So many places need a little bit of water, and hopefully we'll get that. Well, some areas are certainly getting it. Okay, there's the loop of that. I want to zoom back out a little bit now and see how close we are here to the Des Moines area. So here's the Des Moines area, and you get an idea of where this storm is moving. So we're looking for heavy rainfall to be coming in to Cumming and Norwalk very soon. Highway 5 on the south side of Des Moines, we'll be seeing this heavy rainfall, likely some small hail, and over into West Des Moines as well. We're looking at West Des Moines at Grand Avenue. We're looking at West Des Moines at Mills Civic Parkway, the south side of West Des Moines. will be the area that we watch for this to really come through. And even over the last 10 minutes or so, as I've been watching this cell, as I've been here talking to you, this thing has lost a little bit of its strength. It's still got some. It's got a little bit of definition here, still some heavy rainfall, but just a few minutes ago we had even more reds showing up here. And of course, the darker the color on our reflectivity, likely the heavier rain, the higher likelihood that we're seeing a little bit of hail in that. And these colors are just, the red is starting to go away. It's more yellow, it's more orange, which means there is still plenty of rainfall there, but it's not necessarily as intense as it was just a minute ago. But there is a lot of lightning here, still in this northern part of the storm. So in Norwalk, West Des Moines coming, a lot of lightning coming this way. Not a ton, we've seen worse, but enough certainly that it warrants us talking about it. We'll turn off the lightning there and zoom out a little bit more. And let me see if we have a new speed on this storm. Still moving, okay, about northeast at 30 miles per hour. So the speed of it hasn't really changed, just perhaps the direction a little bit. And if we draw that little path, we're going northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Here's some of those arrival times. 3:33 in Norwalk. Well, it's 3:28 now, so within 3 to 4 more minutes in Norwalk. 3:50 in Des Moines. 3:56 in Urbandale, 4:11 in Ankeny, and again, assuming it stays on that same path, 4:26 in the Mitchellville area. So what's interesting about the path of this storm, even though it's not severe, we still want to update you about it. It's worth it. We're not interrupting television programming, which I think makes everybody happy, but you still get the information. And this storm is going to come right through the Des Moines area. So if you have plans in the next hour to hour and a half, your plans are probably going to be sent indoors for a little while because we'll have that rain. And if you need to be out on the road or anything like that, maybe hold off. It will rain off and on through the evening. We'll see that, but this will probably be the heaviest of it moving in here shortly. Just looking at social media here, looking for other updates. Hi, Abby. It's good to see you. I appreciate you all watching, and it's good to be with everybody. We are here live streaming on Facebook Live. We're on we-are-iowa.com. We are on YouTube. It is Wednesday afternoon, April 7th at about 3:30. And guess what? I just heard our first few rumbles of thunder through the studio roof here in West Des Moines. So I want to zoom out a little bit and show you that. Abby said anything about Newton. Abby, this storm is not heading in your direction right now. Let me clear off the track. And if you see me leaning over here, I'm using my computer, so I apologize if it looks kind of funky when I move off. I'm just using my computer to navigate our radar. My zoom is going really slow today. All right, so that's the bigger cell that you see there, north of Winterset, now north of Indianola. There is still more activity, by the way, to our south. If you look at all this, where I'm directing our radar now, so this is the southern part of our area, Lamoni, Kellerton, Ringgold County, so Mount Ayr, Leon, Decatur City, Osceola, other parts of Clark County. And then Creston, this is just to the east of your area, but it is moving through parts of Union County there. None of this is severe, but there is still more lightning. There is still more heavy rainfall, or at least moderate to heavy rainfall. And see all of this? This is Missouri. That's northern Missouri, where we still have rain coming down, and that's all got to go somewhere. So if you are in Centerville, if you are in Allerton or other parts of Wayne County, if you are in Corydon, if you're in Bloomfield, Ottumwa, Albia, you're going to be seeing rain here soon. There's not any severe weather here, but there is plenty of rain in northern Missouri. And I'm going to turn on the lightning. Look at that. There's plenty of lightning strikes all the way down into northern Missouri. And keep in mind that even though this doesn't look overly strong, and it really isn't, our Doppler radar the radar site that we use, is located in Johnston, and as it sends a radar beam from the Des Moines metro farther and farther out, eventually we start to lose some definition on our radar picture when it hits northern Missouri. We can flip over to the radar in Kansas City sometimes and try to get a little bit better look of what's going on there, but that can sometimes be tricky. I told you that we were hearing the thunder at our studios here in West Des Moines a little bit. I'm just checking for additional comments, additional updates. Gage said got the rain gauge ready. Abby said a lot of lightning. Danielle says she's over by Roosevelt and Des Moines and to the southwest it looks really bad. Hi Tammy, good to see you. Deborah said Prole is wicked. Deborah, what's going on there? Is it just lots of lightning and small hail? And again, this is really coming right up into the Des Moines area. To my production team, if you're listening, to all the folks, our great team in the production control room, I am going to keep going until you need me to stop. So shoot me a message, and I know that Chief Meteorologist Brad Edwards here records some updates for our website. I'll try to get off before then, but as long as we have some time, I'll keep talking about this storm as it comes into the Des Moines area, and we'd like to stay here on Facebook Live and on YouTube and on we-are-iowa.com. And until somebody says, Brandon, that's enough, then I will keep talking. All right, let me pull the lightning off of this and zoom back in on the Des Moines area, because this storm's coming in now from the south. I'll tell you, if you live on the south side of Des Moines, especially in Norwalk by the airport, if you live in West Des Moines, Urbandale, Windsor Heights, and your yard needs some rain, it's going to get some. This is coming right up into the west side of the Des Moines metro now. Not severe. If you're just clicking onto Facebook, you're just jumping here on YouTube, on our live stream on we-are-iowa.com, there's nothing severe here. We still have a low-end severe weather risk, but we don't have any warnings, no watches in our area, which is why we're not interrupting on Local 5 News. We only do that if it's a really serious threat to life or to property. But we still want you to stay informed. We haven't had a good, to my knowledge, I don't think we've had a good thunderstorm move through the Des Moines area yet this spring. They've gone through different areas around our community and around central and southern Iowa, but nothing that has rolled right through the Des Moines area. And we have some pretty heavy rainfall here. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit here, just to give you kind of an idea of where the leading edge of this rainfall is. And of course, like I said, keep in mind the radar sometimes is a moment or two behind. This is I-35 and Highway 5 on the south side of Des Moines. This is where 28 meets Highway 5, so we're looking out towards the Des Moines airport. Heavy rainfall, small hail likely coming in, and certainly plenty of thunder and lightning as well. This is going to go right up 28. So eventually that'll go up into Windsor Heights, West Des Moines, right where 235 is, and eventually by the West Mixmaster. That's where the heaviest of this rain is right now. Orilla getting the rainfall, coming, Norwalk. And again, that's moving due north or northeast. It was north-northeast when I last checked at about 30 miles per hour. Just looking for additional updates from the National Weather Service. Nothing too concerning in terms of severe weather, but just a lot of rain, some gusty winds. Deborah said lots of rain and wind there in Prole. Chris said Norwalk has heavy rain with wind and pea-sized hail. Carl says lots of thunder by Raccoon River Park in West Des Moines. Carl says the lightning is picking up there. I'm reading through different comments as I go through. Aaron says further south, Norwalk is heavy rain, lightning, and strong winds. And the wind gusts, let me see, could be in excess of 30 miles per hour with this storm. So severe winds are up to 60 miles per hour or higher. So we're a long ways away from severe weather concern, at least at this point. But certainly there could still be some gusty winds, plenty of lightning, and like we said, possibly some small hail here as well. So if you are just jumping on with us here on our YouTube stream or Facebook Live or at we-are-iowa.com, or by the way, on the We Are Iowa app, we're here to tell you about a thunderstorm that's moving in. Nothing severe, but it is a stronger thunderstorm with some heavy rainfall, some small hail. We're hearing, our studio, by the way, is in West Des Moines, and we're hearing thunder here now. I hear it outside, even though I'm inside. There's lightning, plenty of it coming with this, and it's coming into essentially central Des Moines. It'll be moving through Des Moines. Downtown will be getting some of this. I-235, so Des Moines, Windsor Heights, West Des Moines, Urbandale, Johnston eventually, and Ankeny eventually, as this keeps going. It's been moving at about 30 miles per hour. To give you some perspective, that's a fairly quick moving storm. Sometimes we see them get as quick as 50 miles per hour if they're really racing, and then I've seen storms as slow as 15 miles per hour. And I think 30 is a good pace. You probably wonder why I say that. If it goes too slow, there's a lot of rain here. The slower this thing goes, the more issues we could have when it comes to small street flooding or street ponding and that type of thing. So hopefully we won't be having that anytime soon.
Just a tidbit of information.
Brad is here with me, by the way. He's behind the...
I was going to say a tidbit of information. They're 35,000 feet tall.
Okay, so 35,000 feet up in the air is where we're seeing the tops of those or the top of this thunderstorm at least. And you know, Brad, what do you say? You have to do some updates for the web in about 20 or 25 minutes, but
production, and they're good until 4. So
I'm going to do it. I'm going to stay here because we got a lot of folks who are watching with us, and we want to keep this going for you right as this storm comes through the Des Moines area. So if I pause a little bit, I'm reading updates from the National Weather Service. I'm reading updates from our team, but we're here to guide you through this, even if it's not a severe storm. Abby said hello to you, Brad, by the way.
Hi, Abby.
I don't know if you heard him, Abby, but he says hi. Carly says, what about Ames? Carly, this will be heading towards Ames eventually if it holds together. Yeah, I think you're going to get some rain. You're probably going to have some thunder and lightning. It may not be quite as intense as what this is right now. I'll be waiting for the bottom to fall out on top of our studio here any minute now, because it'll be coming over. I do want to time it out for you again, just this particular cell. And let's see. We said northeast at 30 miles per hour. Let me redo this. All right, hang on. We're going to clear this track. Bear with me for a second because I did that track a little wonky. All right, northeast at 30 miles per hour. We just like to time it out for you. That's close enough, give you an idea. So 3:49 in the city of Des Moines. It's 3:39 now. So within about 10 more minutes, it'll be in the city. 3:53 in Urbandale, 4:11 in Ankeny, 4:22 in Elkhart, and 4:30 in Loring, Iowa. So this is, of course, if it stays that way, notice it's moving north-northeast as it comes through. With that being said, if you are in Johnston, if you're in Urbandale, Polk City, you're probably going to get some heavy rainfall. My folks in Waukee, you may not get a whole lot of this. It's moving just north and just east of you. That's not saying you won't get rain. Van Meter, Waukee, you're going to hear some thunder, you're going to hear some lightning, or see some lightning rather, and you may get a little bit of rain, but it won't be as much. Granger, this thing is going north and east of you right now, or east of you at least on its current path. And I'm starting to hear some rain on the rooftop here at our studio in West Des Moines. Bruce says, seeing very little showers in Creston, looking forward to the first thunderstorm of the season. Says it's kind of boring there. Kristen said skies are dark gray on the east side of Des Moines. Ashley says the storm has officially hit the airport. And meteorologist Taylor Canoost is texting us a picture of some of the clouds out there too. Lots of great looking storm clouds. But we're meteorology geeks, we're weather geeks, so we like to see what the storm clouds look like, especially when it's not severe. We like to keep an eye on things. Okay, I'm going to, that was near Valley West Mall where Taylor took that picture. We'll post that on our social media pages. So we're starting to get rain at our studio here in West Des Moines, and it is, I noticed a comment here from Ash. She said it might be moving a little faster because it started at 3:34 at the airport, and originally that track said 3:50. You've got a good point. And sometimes, like I said, the radar is just a couple minutes behind, and that sometimes is just a product of how Doppler radar works. We get a little bit of a lag into when that data comes back to us, which is unfortunate. It's usually not a very long lag, but it is enough that sometimes that timing can be off a little bit. And anytime we do show those, estimates on the arrival times, by the way, I don't want you to take those for, stone cold truth. Obviously, it can change a little bit. It's more to give you kind of an idea, a general idea, at least of when that'll be coming into the area. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit more on this heavy rainfall. So I can give you an idea. I want to go in even closer of where we're going to see. That's like zooming back out on me, isn't it? There we go. So this is sort of the leading edge of this right now. And again, this is a little bit of a lag, but it's going to go right across Hickman, right across University, right across 235, right across Douglas, and certainly 3580 as well. So this is coming right up through the Des Moines area. The city is going to have some rainfall. The heaviest of it is just to the west of downtown, and it'll be coming through Windsor Heights, the area south of Grand, Highway 28 there, which is 63rd Street there in Windsor Heights, where that meets 235, Clive, West Des Moines, and of course it'll be going up into Urbandale here shortly too. So that's where we're seeing the heavy rainfall, where it will be moving. And like I said, if you are just hopping on, maybe you heard the thunder, you heard the lightning, and maybe you checked over to the website or you checked over to Facebook to see if we were doing an update. The good news is there's no severe weather right now. And quite frankly, I don't expect any severe weather, or at least very minimal severe weather, because this was sort of when we look at storms, this was sort of our chance. This was sort of our shot, right? This cell, if we were going to have severe weather, it would have been this one. And this one, when we get rain that moves over an area, especially steady rainfall like this, it can stabilize the atmosphere even more. And so what comes behind that has a harder time strengthening, has a harder time for us to get any kind of severe weather out of it. So, I won't totally say that we are not going to have any severe weather. I won't say we are 100% out of the woods, but we are definitely not looking at anything too significant or too severe, which is good. Let us know, by the way, on Facebook, or send us a message if you are seeing any kind of small hail and you're in the Des Moines area. Isn't the sound of rain glorious, by the way? If you are looking at your yard and you're all excited for some rainfall, I think a lot of people are going to be very happy when they get some rain. So I turned on our lightning product, hopefully to see where we've got some lightning strikes, and we'll see. I'm going to zoom back out here a little bit to give you an idea. Let me give you a bigger picture idea, by the way, of where this is headed, because we have focused a lot on the Des Moines area. And I recognize that we've got other folks who are watching from other communities, and so I want to let you know.
Some stronger winds now possible from this storm.
Really?
Yeah, up to 50 to 60 miles per hour could be possible.
Okay. So it is strengthening up a little bit, or at least...
A little bit on the south side of the metro.
Yeah, so what Brad was saying is, and I see this update now from the National Weather Service, that the wind on the leading edge of that cell coming into the south side of Des Moines could have winds as high as 50 or 60 miles per hour, or at least our radar signatures are showing that. So if you get some really strong winds, let us know. Currently, we are not under any severe weather alerts. There is no severe thunderstorm warning. There's not a severe thunderstorm watch or anything like that. And I don't anticipate that we will get a watch. I don't think we will. And just, given the latest trend with that storm, we'll keep an eye out to see if we will have any kind of warning issued. As long as it stays below 60 and they don't have any reason to believe that it'll go above 60, we probably won't see a warning, but certainly it's possible. So anyway, we've got rain, we've got thunder and lightning down to our south as well. I showed you that coming up from Missouri. This is all following that same path up I-35. So Osceola, Grand River, Decatur City, Leon, Mount Ayr, Kellerton, even Corydon, Sheraton getting some rain here soon. And also if you are in the east side of Union County, by the way, Madison and Warren County, you'll be getting some more too. So some more rain and thunder and lightning coming up into Winterset, a little bit more in St. Charles and New Virginia will be heading our way. If you are farther west of this, say you're in Atlantic or you're over in Greenfield, maybe you are up near Jefferson or Perry or over into Sheridan. Let's see who else we've got up there. Audubon, Adair. You're probably not going to see a whole lot of this because of the path that this is going. And then farther east as well, we're not seeing quite as much with that. So Newton, Knoxville, Oskaloosa, Grinnell, Montezuma, Brooklyn, Ottumwa, Albia. Those areas may get some more later on, but they're not getting quite as much right now.
Yeah, there's a lot coming out of Missouri.
There is, yeah. Just so much coming up from the south. So even if the strongest storm is done, or probably the strongest storm, that doesn't mean we are done. It doesn't mean we won't have more rain, we won't have more thunder, we won't have more lightning. Look at all of this activity back down into Missouri. That's Bethany, Missouri, if you're familiar with the drive from central Iowa down 35 towards Kansas City. So Bethany, Missouri, there's plenty of activity down through north central Missouri, I think it's pronounced Chillicothe, Missouri, or Chillicothe, Brunswick, up to Kirksville. All of that activity has to go somewhere, and it's continuing to lift to the north. So we won't be done with rain and thunder and lightning and all of that good stuff, but currently not seeing any severe weather trends out of that. Let's see. Deborah said, wind is out of Pearl and barely raining now. Deborah, some more will be coming your way. At least rain and thunder. Pam said in Windsor Heights we're getting heavy rain. Bradley said brief heavy sprinkle in Waukee. Hail on 31st Street, dime-sized hail. Lots of hail by Roosevelt High School. And this is all small hail, which is good. We don't want hail that damages cars or anything like that. All right, I'm going to go back up into the Des Moines area and zoom in on this. Remember, we said that there is the possibility that the winds could be getting stronger in the Des Moines area. That was a fast zoom, I'm glad. Sometimes my zooms have been going a little bit slower today. Yeah, this whole thing is coming right up through the Des Moines area. Right up I-35, we're getting lots of heavy rainfall in the city, especially just west of downtown, and we're certainly going to keep watching that as it moves to the north. The heaviest of the rain, by the way, and where there's likely some hail, falls in line with that report that there was a lot of small hail near Roosevelt High School. It definitely falls in line with that because if you look at where that strongest radar signature is showing up, the darker colors essentially, that's north of I-235. So that's between 235 and 3580. So we're watching the Drake neighborhood, Beaverdale, of course Clive, and this will be heading up into Urbandale and Johnston very soon, and then we'll watch it go up into Ankeny. So we're going to get a decent amount of rainfall with this, which is good. I bet so many lawns are thrilled to see this, and it is coming through very quickly. So, earlier we had that report, that timing of how quickly this was moving. We said 30 miles per hour. I do think it's probably going a little bit quicker than that because we had said, hey, it would be right around 4 o'clock when this thing would be moving into the city of Des Moines. I acknowledge it's 3:51, so it's about 9 minutes, 10 minutes ahead of time on those timings. So I think it may be going a little bit faster than 30 miles per hour. I was reading, we got this update on potentially what wind gusts there were. Brad, do you want to decipher that TAF report there?
Yeah, it's hail reports. It's like half-inch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Half-inch sized hail potentially. And by the way, there's lots of photos and videos on Twitter of the shelf cloud coming in. That's the leading edge, by the way, of that storm, of that cell. Clinton said rain and wind picking up for Beaverdale.
The wind gust was 36 knots at the airport, so that's about 40 miles per hour.
Okay, so it is a strong wind event there. Certainly some strong winds with this cell, but it's not strong enough that it would, of course, warrant a severe thunderstorm warning. And actually, you see where that heavy rainfall is. It's right down Euclid Avenue now, just coming down in buckets, essentially. All right, let me move this a little bit more up to the north, and I'm actually going to zoom in even farther because I want you to see exactly what roads we are talking about where this heavy rain is moving. See, one of the beauties of our radar, so many beautiful things about it, is that we can zoom in so close to show you the streets. Here's Morningstar Drive, Aurora Avenue on the north side of Des Moines. This is the area getting hit. So we're looking at 2nd Avenue going from the city up into Ankeny. That's where this is really tracking. So we're looking at Beaverdale and North Des Moines for all of this heavy, heavy rainfall, and likely where we are seeing some of that small hail. So here's a little bit of a closer view of that. This is Euclid Avenue on the north and east side of Des Moines. Douglas Avenue runs just north of that. All of that red here, just torrential rain coming down. And I really do appreciate being able to give you this street level view. And I'm not forgetting about the communities that are to the west of that as well. This is in Urbandale, right where Urbandale meets Des Moines and Beaverdale. There's Urbandale Avenue, Tawana Drive, and Euclid as it comes around. And here we go. That's all that heavy rainfall. Lots of likely small hail with this as well. So I like giving you that closer view on our Doppler radar because it gives us a very good idea of who is seeing what at this point. Tells us what's going on when it comes to the radar. And as I zoom out, which I know goes really slow, but we will get there, we just see that there's a big wall of rain coming into the Des Moines area, and it's not going to stop for a little while. So if you are in Ankeny, my apartment is in Ankeny, Brad's house is Ankeny, so we really are interested in getting some rain there. I think for the lawns and for the yards, it's coming. It's going up that way. Saylorville Lake area will be getting this. It'll be moving right through Johnston and Ankeny, and it will be coming down quite heavily there in that area. And of course, like I said, if you're just jumping on with our Facebook live stream, with our YouTube stream, weareiowa.com, on the We Are Iowa app, we're happy to have you here. This is not a severe thunderstorm. It's below severe limits. There are no warnings. There are no watches in effect for our area. But because we have the capability to bring you this information without interrupting programming on Local 5, I wanted to give you all this information about the storm. I do think the signature, by the way, that was showing some of that really strong wind, that seems to have gone down in the last couple of radar scans. And I don't really see a whole lot there. Megan says it is sunny in Grinnell. So we know that it's not storming there right now, but that doesn't mean you won't get something later on. You might even be able to hear the rain over my microphone at this point because it's coming down pretty heavily outside. I hope nobody left their car windows down. That won't be a good scenario at all, will it? There is still plenty of rain coming our way, and it will get lighter though. There is still lots of activity down to the south, so I'm not forgetting about our folks that are in southern Iowa. This is all fairly noisy activity, some heavy rainfall here, what I'm pulling up on the screen. There's probably a good amount of lightning. In fact, if you look at that, there's a ton of lightning east of Creston, all over Decatur County, Clark County, heading into New Virginia. I know we had somebody watching from Prohl, and that's going to be moving in your area. Osceola, Van Wert. But this activity is kind of ragged. It's kind of, doesn't have a whole lot of definition. And so I'm not overly concerned about it. I'm just simply letting you know that we are going to see rainfall, and we are going to see certainly plenty of the thunder and lightning that comes along with that as well. So I do want to let you know that here in just a couple of minutes, we will be ending our live stream so that we can get a couple of things ready for our newscast. We will continue to update you as need be on Facebook, on Twitter, and on we-are-iowa.com, of course. And then we will also be updating you in our 5 o'clock newscast. But we are going to stay with you for just a couple more minutes as this thing moves through Des Moines. And then, like I said, in about 5 minutes or so, a little less than that, we will probably have to wrap up simply so we can get some things ready for our newscast. That doesn't mean we're done watching the storms. It doesn't mean that the concern for the storm is over. My voice is also running out a little bit, so that might be part of it. Kristen said there was some hail at Easter Seals. Jennifer said it's getting noisy in Ankeny. Jessica said strong winds and dark sky in Ankeny. Deborah said it's totally calm with no rain in Prohl. Deborah, you still got more rain on the way there in Prohl, but you're kind of in a gap, so to speak, right now. I'm actually really thankful that this storm came through at the time that it did, because this is still a little bit before most of our drive time. And that's always good, because even if it's not severe, nobody wants to drive when it's pouring buckets outside. Again, here's a closer view of this. It's lost a little bit of its shape, a little bit of its definition. Saylor Township getting a lot of that heavy rainfall right now. Some hail there possible on the north side, and it'll continue moving up into Ankeny. So Ankeny, if it hasn't started raining in your area, it probably will very soon. Darlene says, gentle rain falling in Urbandale. Love the sound of the thunder and rain of the first spring storm. I'm so thrilled, by the way, that the first real good spring storm to come through the city of Des Moines and through the metro is not severe. Sometimes it's nice to ease into the system, right? Or ease into the season. We've got some rain. We've got some small hail. This is not big enough hail to be causing any damage, thankfully, so that's always a good sign. And the wind, even if it's gusty, haven't had any reports of damage. I hope we don't. It's not quite strong enough, I don't think, to cause major widespread issues. Of course, there might be some folks who are losing power. Hopefully you're not losing too much. In fact, I haven't checked the power outages, but hopefully we're not seeing a whole lot. So with that, we are approaching 4 o'clock here in the afternoon. To our production team, to Mario, who is our digital executive producer, who has made, by the way, this live stream possible. He has given me so many tools, so much capability. I'm going to wrap up our live stream now so that we can get ready for our newscasts. Of course, we will continue watching this cell as it moves through the area. Be sure to jump in, watch us on Local 5 News at 5. Today at 5 p.m. we're starting right off with Chief Meteorologist Brad Edwards with the latest on this weather and the latest on our storm threat. By that point, this big cell will be to our north. So if you're in Polk City, Ankeny, Elkhart, say you are in between Des Moines and Ames, Huxley, Ames, this will be heading your way too. We will, of course, update you online, on air, if anything becomes severe. And if not, we'll see you at 5 o'clock. For now, I'm Meteorologist Brandon Lawrence alongside Chief Meteorologist Brad Edwards. Stay safe this afternoon, and we'll see you at 5.